Hello gamers, Magehammer here for another edition of Magehammer's Musings. Well, as those of you who have been following my channel know, I have been exploring Ward the card game quite extensively currently. But Ward the card game is not my only trading card game passion. So I decided that maybe as I come into what I call my trading card game season, spring tends to be the season where I tend to play trading card games the most. I mean, I keep up with them, I play them occasionally throughout the year. I play them at Game Society with my students at the high school where I teach. And I also play with my friend Surf Monkey, who comes over about once a month, and we play cards, trading card games with each other. So I thought, you know what, I love trading card games. So I thought it'd be cool to present to you my current trading card game passions. Okay, so what I'm going to start out with are games that I am playing primarily digitally. Okay, so I have up here Pokemon Live, which is a client on mobile as well as computer where you can play the actual Pokemon card game in its entirety against other people on the internet. Currently I'm running a Magneto deck. I know it's probably a little bit out of date, but it's been really good to me. So I've really enjoyed playing it. And so I've been playing it a little bit here and there currently, but also been playing Pokemon Pocket, which has a pared down version of Pokemon, the card game, on it. But it's more about collecting the cards in the packs than it is about playing, but they do have a place where you play. But if you want to play Pokemon, you play it here. I've also taught Pokemon to a couple of students at Game Society, and several of my students are really into playing Pokemon at Game Society, as well as a local card shop where they have been playing in tournaments. So Pokemon currently is one I'm playing and I'm passionate about. And so next up, these are the ones I'm playing primarily digitally, by the way. Next up, let's talk about Cardfight Vanguard, which is it's been one of my favorite games now for about 15 years. And this is currently my favorite deck to play. It's an Orfist deck. But however, first of all, Cardfight Vanguard has absolutely amazing art. It's one of the things that really attracted me to the game, in addition to the gameplay. Anyway, currently they just recently came out with Dear Days 2, which is a Switch and Steam version of the game. It's a digital version of the game, and it's pretty much close. It's currently playing in the current version of the game, which is known as Divines. And you can make this deck, which is out of the Overdress era. But I've been playing that quite a bit now that Dear Days 2 came out. I love Cardfight Vanguard. Surf Monkey and I got into Cardfight Vanguard pretty heavy. I have many of these cards and also decks. But we've kind of moved away from playing it to explore other card games, so I have been playing it on my own. In Dear Days, playing people online, building up some of the more modern decks that I had kind of stalled out on in a cardboard, but also playing the decks that I really enjoyed playing. So I've been playing quite a bit of that recently on my Switch. Next up is an old chestnut here, and that is Yu-Gi-Oh! Now, I got into Yu-Gi-Oh! Roughly a little bit after I got into Cardfight Vanguard, because the kids at Game Society all those years ago said, well, if you play Vanguard, you should play Yu-Gi-Oh! You know, and I'm like, okay, so I'll play Yu-Gi-Oh! And so I finally I got some decks together. I got quite a few Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards as well. I have several decks that every once in a while play with students at Game Society. Recently, actually, this Blue Eyes deck came out, and I have a student who really wanted to learn to play Yu-Gi-Oh! He's been a Blue Eyes Dragon fan, even though he's never really played the game. So last Game Society, I taught him how to play Yu-Gi-Oh! With this starter deck, Blue Eyes White Destiny, which updates Blue Eyes to the modern version of Yu-Gi-Oh! I do have a confession to make, though. I don't really enjoy anymore playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Cardboard, because the game is just so complex and fiddly. In fact, I had quite a hard time teaching my student how to play that because it was kind of rough. But I will say I still truly enjoy Yu-Gi-Oh! Quite a bit in this Master Duel, which is free to play on mobile devices as well as on computer, pretty much anywhere, Steam. So my main, I guess that's trading card game talk for the deck I play the most is, oh look, ooh, got an icon. The one I play the most are Lightsworn, and so recently, past several months, they came out with some new Lightsworn cards that brought the Lightsworn archetype, as they call it in Yu-Gi-Oh, up to its new standards. And so I have been playing quite a bit of Master Duel now with this deck here, my Lightsworn deck, and really enjoying playing it on computer. I mean, beyond, I'm to a point where I really don't like playing Yu-Gi-Oh! On cardboard, as I mentioned, but I really do enjoy playing Master Duel now that the Lightsworn have been updated. So that's Master Duel and one of my passions right now. Now, let's talk about the one I really love, and that is Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duel. Now, Yu-Gi-Oh! has, it is kind of Yu-Gi-Oh!, but it's not. It is a completely different trading card game, and I have several of the starter decks. I've bought a couple of booster pack boxes, but the trouble is that they have not released Rush Duel in English. So I've been buying from Japanese stores. I've been buying some Japanese, that's the only way you can get it is Japanese. There's some Japanese cards on Amazon in America, which I've bought a couple copies of the starter deck. This is from one of the starter decks. This is Dragius. Dragon gets to attack twice. It's pretty fun. So I have these. I have several of these decks. I also, stuck in customs right now is a Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duel Hero archetype deck that I'm looking forward to getting. And this is my Blue Eyes deck. I got 2 of these starters off Amazon, structure decks off Amazon, and I turned it into a deck to bring out the good old Blue Eyes White Dragon and all its friends. I got the shiny, but everything's in Japanese, as you can see. So yeah. However, so what I do is, actually, I do play this, but what I have to do is there's a guy up on DeviantArt that has translated all the cards and has made quote unquote proxies of them, images of them up online. And so what I've done is I take the cards that are in my deck, I take the pictures off of there and I put them into reference sheets, and I have the reference sheet off to the side, my opponent has a reference sheet off to the side, and we can play that way. Now, it's not optimal, but at least we're playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duel in cardboard, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duel is so much fun. Frankly, it's probably my favorite trading card game to play right now because its gameplay is absolutely amazing. It's like, they say it's a stripped down version of Yu-Gi-Oh!, but I don't think so. I think it's Yu-Gi-Oh! Improved, evolved. I think it's better than Yu-Gi-Oh! And I know that's blasphemy to the Yu-Gi people out there, but I really love it, and I wish it would come into English. It would make it a lot easier for me to play cardboard. I've taught students at Game Society how to play, but of course it gets a little fiddly where they have to read the paper and everything. However, all is not lost. There are online emulators to play the game in English, but I don't really have a Windows computer that is great, or I use Chromebooks primarily. I play video games through GeForce Now on my Chromebook, so that's how I do my video games, plus Switch. Switch is what I play the most when I do play video games that are not wonderful card games. Anyway, so there is hope though, because there was a literally stripped down version of Yu-Gi-Oh! That released several years back called Speed Duel, and then they turned it into a mobile app, which is basically a mobile app where you can play Yu-Gi-Oh! Speed Duel. But several months back or so, maybe a year or two, they added in Rush Duel in English to this app. So I have been playing it like religiously ever since. Now the only problem is that it's not exactly Rush Duel. It has skill. It has these things called skills, which you don't have in the physical card game. It has a different kind of pool of cards that you pull from. But all these cards that you're seeing appearing on the screen here are actually in the game. But it's and you start with 6,000 life instead of 8,000 life. And I will mention that there is a Switch game that is also Rush Duel, the card game in digital version, but it's not updated, and it just has up to like the first 1 or 2 booster pack releases, and you can play it in video game form. And I do play it, but it's just that, you know, you have to go through a story and you have to, you know, build up. You know, I managed to do an unlock where I was able to build my own decks, so at least that's fun. But I guess, you know, between that and this, I'm at least playing Rush Duel, and every once in a while I can talk somebody into playing the Japanese version in cardboard with me. And so I'm getting my Rush Duel fix, but my ultimate dream is for this game is to have them release it in English in America, or, you know, in the Western world, or in English wherever. Unfortunately, I'm not sure that's going to happen. I think they think it'll end up cannibalizing their Yu-Gi-Oh sales in North America. And so, but they recently canceled Speed Duel because they had a cardboard version of Speed Duel as well. And I'm hoping maybe they come up with some way to bring this game in some form to the West, so that it's a lot easier for me and people who love the game to play it in cardboard across the table from your friends. So that is the games I'm playing primarily on digital. And so also wishing I could play them, or this one especially, more in cardboard. So set those aside. Okay, get all my rewards and so forth. Yeah, because this is free to play, so you have all kinds of rewards and stuff. So that is the games I'm playing mostly on my tablet and phone. And now I'm going to feature the games that I am playing when I get together with Surf Monkey, or I'm playing with kids at Game Society as often as I can. Unfortunately, I don't play them as much as I'd like to, but when we get together, these are the games that are the options for us to play. So, let's go with this. This is a relatively new game, Union Arena. Obviously, the Japanese love their anime and manga, and there's many different IPs, like, okay, thousands, probably millions of different IPs, I don't know. So they take those IPs and they build a card game that they could plug these IPs into, and then you can play these different IPs against each other in a card game. My son, when he was younger, loved Demon Slayer, but he also really went through the manga and the Jujutsu Kaisen. And so these starter sets have some exclusive cards, but they also have like a lot of stills from the anime that they've built around these. But when you buy the booster boxes that help support these decks, they have more original art, is my understanding. Plus there's like alternate art cards and foils and stuff like that. Anyway, Surf Monkey and I played this the last time we got together. It's a lot of fun. It's a very accessible card game, which I guess makes sense because they're probably marketing it to both trading card game players as well as fans of these animes, and they don't want to have anything that is too complicated so that they can bring them in. So I have these 4 starters, which is the 4 starters that they have. They have another property that doesn't have a starter but just has a booster box called Neo Geo or something. Code Geass. That's it, Code Geass. I don't have any of those cards. And my One Punch Man cards are on their way, actually. They are in the U.S. Postal Service system right now. And I'm very excited about the One Punch Man because I've read Bleach in manga, and so the first volume or so. But the rest of these I've never really explored. I mean, my son has. I was hoping to get my son into playing this game. We'll see. But One Punch Man, I'm pretty much into volume 8 or whatever. I'm very excited for that to come out. and so that's on its way to me soon. The next game that we play when we get together is Battle Spirits Saga, which is a little sad because Battle Spirits Saga has just been canceled. Battle Spirits is a long story. It hit in Japan. It was huge in Japan. Those of you from the 80s, they're big in Japan. Probably know that reference. Anyway, so it's a cool Japanese card game. I believe may have even been designed by a Western, by an American, and I think he was also into role-playing games designer. Anyway, he designed the original Battle Spirits. It hit really huge in Japan, and then they tried to bring Battle Spirits to English, and it just didn't take. This is a chance. Now, Battle Spirits remains popular in Japan, the original Battle Spirits game, but they attempted again to kind of bring it to English, and unfortunately it just did not find its audience. But it is a really fun game to play, and Surf Monkey and I have we bought a couple booster boxes together, and we kind of split the colors and all that stuff. And so we and I went and got these cool core holders, and so we play that occasionally. It's on the docket to play when we get together. We're still actively pursuing this game and playing it, and it's a lot of fun. Don't play as often as we'd like. Next up is Keyforge, which I have featured on my channel a couple times before. Keyforge, though, is unique because it's not a trading card game technically. What it is instead is a trading deck game. Or I guess trading may not have to be in there. A unique deck game, I think is what they call it. So I am semi-obsessed with Keyforge because when I heard about Keyforge originally, when it was going to be released at Gen Con, they had a lot of things going for it. One of which was that Richard Garfield, the creator of Magic the Gathering, designed it. And the other thing is that these decks that are made here are put together by a computer algorithm, and the backs are randomly generated. The 3 houses that they put into each deck are randomly generated. And so what that ultimately means is that nowhere else in the world does this deck exist in the form that it's in, except right here in my hands. And I was like, whoa. I was like, that has a lot of possibilities for my students at Game Society. And it's just a really cool idea to begin with. So yeah, I can't take the cards out of this deck and go put them in another deck. Legally, there are formats, of course, that people and fans have created that allow you to do such a thing, and they have the parameters for it. But I just like playing the game as is. My son Applesauce Rex, when he's home from college, I have boxes of these decks. We crack open the decks, we play them against each other, see which one wins, set the one that wins off to the side, the one that loses off to the side, and then we kind of do like this last deck standing thing throughout the summer when he's home from college. Sit down, throw down some Keyforge and play it. Surf Monkey, of course, got in this game as well. But going back to my students, I was like, so wait, you can open a deck and play, and you're pretty much close to being on even field with someone else that just has a deck. I'm like, and the decks back then when it came out were $10, now they're like 15, I don't know, whatever. So you buy one deck and you can play this deck against any other Keyforge deck, and it will be a good game. Let's say for some reason the algorithm spit out an extremely powerful deck, and you don't have an extremely powerful deck by the luck of the draw, and so they have a system, Garfield or whoever the design team put together a thing called chains, where you just draw fewer cards, which helps balance out the power of your deck against the lit deck. So I was like, wow, that is great. So when it came out, I really pushed it at Game Society. I got decks and just gave them to kids, and then some of them bought their own. And I ran tournaments, and I got prizes and stuff with Keyforge because it really caught on. I was right. It literally caught on to that group of kids back then. That was pre-pandemic. Once the pandemic came in, we're allowed to have Game Society for a while. But now we brought it back. I still have Keyforge decks there. I teach people to play Keyforge at Game Society occasionally. It hasn't really taken with any of the current kids, but and it's still being printed, thank goodness. Ghost Galaxy Games. Jordan Peterson, he bought it. He's the one that founded the Fantasy Flight game. He's the one that greenlit Keyforge through Fantasy Flight Games, but Fantasy Flight Games, there were issues, and so he bought the property off of Fantasy Flight Games, started Ghost Galaxy, and it is still being printed today. And I backed the latest backer kit or whatever, Game Found. And so my decks should be on their way to me hopefully by either summer. I think the new set's coming out just in time for Applesauce Rex to be back from college. But this game is a fascinating thing. Because each deck is unique, and I just find that concept awesome. And trying to, search through the best deck to search through packs just to find the best deck or decks that you just really like playing. And there's lots of support for it online as far as like logging your decks and seeing the strength of your decks and stuff. And that's Keyforge. And as you can tell, I really got into that game. I got this real fancy box and holds 3 decks and has trays for the tokens that you use in the game. So really cool. Love Keyforge. Still very passionate about it, and I still play it in cardboard. There is a online emulator called The Crucible, which is the world in which Keyforge takes place in. That is actually very serviceable. But with Keyforge, I just really, and you can import your decks to that and play your decks in a digital space, which I do occasionally, but I just really prefer playing that in cardboard because I can. So that's Keyforge, which I absolutely love. Next up is, all right, so the guys that published, the company that published my Cardfight Vanguard also took it. This was a unique one because it's a digital game that got turned into cardboard game, and it's called Shadowverse Evolve. There's a Shadowverse video game, which is actually a little bit different game, but ultimately is pretty much the same thing. But they had to kind of, adapt it for cardboard use. So it came out, it comes out in Japan first, and then they publish it in English over here. And I bought, when it first announced it, I got some Japanese cards just because it's cool. But now, when English came out, I have several decks. There's different crafts, I guess. I think they're called craft. Like this is a runecraft deck, and that's like a faction, and it is like a lot of wizards and spells and stuff. So I really enjoy that, and so I've built several decks, some combo decks, some cool decks, and I play Surf Monkey with this. I played Applesauce Rex a little bit with the decks I had. We kind of switched decks together. And it's a really fun game. It has a magic point system where you gain magic points each round, and that way you always have access to resources to play. And I've really enjoyed playing this. You can evolve your creatures kind of like Pokemon, and then you have a leader, and that dictates the faction that you are. And then this is the Evolve deck, and the cards get better. And I really enjoy it. I taught it to Josh at my RPG group, and he seemed to enjoy it when we play it. And Surf Monkey really likes it, and I enjoy it. And I teach it to kids once in a while at Game Society. If I got a kid that's really into trading card games, like, well, this game is awesome, so you need to, you definitely need to do that. I'm gonna have like another faction here. So yeah, anyway, so this is an idea. The art, of course, like Vanguard, because it's come from this company, and the Psy Games is the name of the digital game company. The artwork is just awesome, incredible, and I just really love it. So and I really enjoy the gameplay. I really enjoy playing this game. It is a really fun game to play. Okay, so that is Shadowverse Evolve. Very, very cool game that I love. Published by Bushiroad. Here's another one just for the heck of it. I got it out. Check it out. This is Dragoncraft deck. So it's got some big dragons and dragon riders and stuff. It's really cool. I really enjoy it. And their thing is that since their dragons are a little more expensive to play out, they have like a ramp. Those of you who play Magic Gathering understand the term ramp. Gets your mana points up and cooking way sooner so you can get your dragons out. So that is Shadowverse Evolve, which I'm still actively playing and pursuing. All right, and then there's this one. All right, guys, if you're a Star Wars freak, hold your applause. So this is Star Wars Unlimited by Fantasy Flight Games, and I love the gameplay of this game. I think this might be a starter deck here, a Mandalorian starter deck. I may have taken some cards out of here to add to my other decks. I have most of this deck most of my cards for Star Wars Unlimited are at school because I use them in Game Society. I set up a game every time we have Game Society, and every once in a while a kid will be like, Star Wars, oh, okay, so then I'll teach him how to play, and we'll play a couple games, and it's a lot of fun. In this game, you set up you have a leader and you have a location, and then on this side are your ground units, on this side are your space units, and then you've got differing things to play, and then you play them out with resources. Any card in your hand can become a resource, so it kind of solves the problem of Magic the Gathering. And the reason I don't play Magic the Gathering much anymore, if at all, is because of the mana system. I hate it, and so this solves that by making any card in your hand a resource. You just lay down 2 at the beginning, and you basically use them like lands and Magic to pay the cost for your cards and bring them out. All the cards come into play rested, and then you refresh them at the end. And then you have different upgrade cards, event cards that you can change the path of the game with. And obviously it is well steeped in Star Wars lore. However, I will say I am not the biggest Star Wars fan. I do enjoy Star Wars and I respect it, and I think it's cool and everything. But I'm not like, I'm not like obsessed or like, like, oh my gosh, Star Wars. I do love it though. I do enjoy it. I love the Mandalorian TV show. I love Rogue One. That's my favorite. That's my favorite Star Wars movie. I know. Put the hate in the comments. But I love Rogue One. That's so great. I have a Rogue One deck, actually. It's at school that I play. Jyn Erso is the leader. It's so much fun. This game, though, is really, really fun. It's also very accessible for new players. It's not a simple game by any, but it's not also overly complicated either. And it has alternating activations. You do something with one of your cards, they do something with cards, and play a card, whatever, back and forth. And I just love it. I do love this game quite a bit. And Surf Monkey and I play it. I play, as I mentioned, at Game Society. And every once in a while, Apple Source Rex and I will break it out and play because he is a bigger Star Wars fan than I am. But that is Star Wars Unlimited by Fantasy Flight Games. I strongly urge you, if the rest of these games aren't really, like, oh, okay, that sounds cool, oh, that's pretty cool, but this, you should look into this. They have starter sets come out with, they have 2 decks, and so I really recommend that game. Then there's a newish game. It's about 1.5 years old, about the same age as Ward, I think, and it's called Alestrals. And once again, I am a sucker for advertising. This keeps popping up on my social media because obviously they know I like trading card games, that algorithm out there. And so I ordered some decks to take a look at. Now, I've watched a lot of YouTube videos. I've watched some play videos, and but I have not yet played this game. They have a app for Android, and if you're in their Discord, apparently you can have a link to download it to the Apple Store. I'm not sure why. The Android is readily available, so if you're an Android person, you can go download their app for Alestrals, and it kind of goes to a tutorial and shows you how to play. This game, I was like, okay, yeah. Now look, I get a lot of advertisements for trading card games. There are so many trading card games, especially with like Kickstarter and all those other crowdfunding sets coming out all the time. This one's a little different. I'm pretty sure it's designed by a Magic professional player, and he decided to create his own game. As you can see, it's kind of cutesy art, but not overly cutesy, and that is, which hopefully I think they're trying to capture a little bit of the Pokemon crowd. This is a starter. I think it's like 25 bucks. It comes with a die. Comes with a fully playable deck and 3 booster packs. So I think that's a pretty good deal in gaming. And they just announced a new set of pre-orders for their next set that they're doing 2-player starters now for the same price. So you're going to get 2 decks and 4 booster sets in your starter to play. And so, like I said, I've watched it played, but I've not played it yet myself. In fact, I'm waiting for our next Surf Monkeys visit over here. And you can see it's like cute, but yet also, yeah, It's just really cool looking. And I think they've done their homework. I think they've done what, and the games I've seen played online, it looks very exciting. It looks like something I'd be interested in, obviously, since I spent money on it. So it digs hard into some ancient mythology and so forth. Like, these guys are like extra powerful and extra cool, and they're all based on gods from, it looks like Greek, or is Poseidon Roman? Greek, Roman is almost all the same, the ancient gods. So anyway, so Poseidon there, I think it's Greek. So Atlantis, you know, so, but also then it creates these like creatures, you know, these little Pokemon creature style Pokemon things. Now, don't call them Pokemon though, folks. It's Celestrals. Anyway, it looks really cool, and I really like their damage/resource system. Your life is also your resource, and so you have to really play that carefully, and the resource has to match the creature's abilities before you can play it out. And I've been really passionate about learning this game, and so I'm really looking forward to playing my first games with Surf Monkey. I also have some more cards coming from this. They are in the mail. Some more starter decks. And I even have like a blister pack that comes with like a promo card and a booster pack. And I'll be opening those once I kind of get a feel for these starter decks and play it with Surf Monkey. And then once I know how to play, I will take it to Game Society and see if there's any students interested in learning this game. So that is Celestrals. Really, really cool looking, sharp game. And I'm pretty excited about it, actually. So that's that. And then, of course, ladies and gentlemen, those of you that have been watching my channel know I have really dug into Ward. Now, those of you that watched, I believe it was my last video before this one, or whatever, my video where I created a deck building system. Well, I've sleeved up all 7 decks I made in that video. And that's what's coming up next, is I'm going to randomly determine which of these decks are going to go against each other. I have these 4 here because I'm going to take these to school for Game Society this week and play some students. Or since I have multiple decks now, I'm going to probably have some students come over and they're going to learn and I'll teach them. But I might be able to do like 2 tables at a time and teach them how to play. As we all know, I'm a pretty big fan of this game right now. It's really taking up a lot of my space in my mind. And so anyway, I've got these decks all sleeved up and ready for play. So Ward, if this is like the first video of mine you're watching, Ward is a card game, and they tout it as the dice rolling trading card game, and it comes in booster packs and starters. And the starter is similar to Keyforge in that you have a playable deck right out of the thing. Unlike Keyforge, you can take those cards and add them and build your own decks. So so that's pretty cool. But you have creatures and they fight each other with a dice rolling system. They say it's an RPG system. I mean, it's basically an RPG system. You roll to hit and you roll for damage. So it's pretty cool. So it's like 2 monsters fighting each other. And so if this looks interesting, and they do like this 1980s and 90s comic book art style, it's really, really cool. So as you know, I like this game. So if you are watching this and you've not been to my channel before, you can go check out the Ward the Trading Card Game playlist and watch me play some games, build some decks, and there'll be a lot more Ward content coming your way soon. Anyway, I guess one of the main points of this video is to say is that I am passionate about trading card games. It's a huge part of my gaming hobby. You know, I love role-playing games, I love miniatures games, and I love trading card games. And since I'm coming into trading card game season, I thought I'd share with you all a little bit of my passion. Now, this is by far just scratching the surface of my trading card game collection. There's many games that I have that I've played in the past, but I just don't play them anymore, and I'm not pursuing them anymore, but I still have them. And, you know, in the future, maybe Surf Monkey and I'll pop them out for old time's sake and play a couple games. And maybe I'll make a video about all those games. If you're interested in that, let me know. It'll have to be a multiple video series though, because I have quite a few. Yeah, so that's pretty fun. Anyway, so let me know what you think. Are any of these games a game that you might want to try out, or that you didn't know existed, and you're like, whoa, what's that? And if not, or you don't like trading card games, just let me know, and let me know why. And I know they can be expensive, but I think they're trying very hard with starter decks and structure decks and so forth to make it as cheap as possible. And really, you only have to spend a ton of money, I think, if you're going to go out into the tournament scene. If you're just sitting down with your buddies and playing some games, you could probably get away with like the price of a video game and play like for months with the decks that you buy. So, like for this Union Arena game, I'm just playing the starter decks against each other with Surf Monkey. That's it. So that's what I'm gonna do. Same with Alestrals, probably, unless I really get into it. I'll build some decks like I have to some of these other games. Anyway, let me know what you think about my passions here. Let me know what you think about trading card games. And thank you so much for watching. As always, I appreciate the support for my channel. Just a guy in a basement playing and talking about games, and I thank you for coming along for the ride. All right, so till next time, keep on rolling dice and playing games. Magehammer out.